First of all, I'd like to welcome up Malcolm Banner. Malcolm's the Commercial Director of National Accident Repair Group. He joined them last year after a good number of years with Nationwide. So a big welcome please to Malcolm Banner. Welcome, have a seat please. And then someone you can all be really nice to because he's not used to speaking up in front of large audiences like this, Wayne Mason-Drust. Wayne is a repairer. He's the Managing Director of Accident Express Group. He's been a repairer all his life, has Wayne. He started in the industry at the age of 16 as an apprentice, and he created Accident Express in 1998. He's now got 3 sites over the West Midlands. And talking to him earlier on, he tells me that his best gamble in life was asking the girl who later became his wife out when they were 14 years old. Isn't that a big R? Big welcome, Wayne Mason-Drust. And from the repairer world, we're delighted to have Paul Sell. Paul's the head of motor and legal services supply chain at Aviva. He's been with Aviva for 16 years and he's now responsible for all arrangements with their third-party suppliers and providing services to Aviva in motor legal services markets. Big welcome to Paul Sell, please. So we have the rose between two thorns, is it? I'm not sure. Okay, I'd like just a quick 2.5-minute video of perhaps setting the scene of possibly one direction we could be looking at.
The National Fast Track Service is designed to qualify suitable vehicles for 24-hour and 48-hour fast track repairs. Once a customer uploads the images of their damaged vehicle to the national website, the streamlined service enables us to determine repair durations, reducing claim cycle times and any requirement for a courtesy car. The customer is notified that their vehicle is suitable for fast track. And providing they're happy with their quotation, the car is checked into the body shop through a quick and simple process. With the customer mobility arranged, repair work can begin. National body shops are equipped with the latest tools to aid removal of badges and mouldings so that they can be used again, reducing the cost of repair. And with minimal idle time between repair stages, the panel beating stage gets underway. The Express Fast Track Lane is dedicated to vehicles that are suitable for 24-hour or 48-hour repairs, with many repairs turned around same day. With meticulous attention to detail, it is not long before a panel is made ready for paint spraying in our state-of-the-art booths. The quality of national repairs is underpinned by our effective qualification process, attention to detail in repair and customer service, as every new repair is clean, ready for collection. Visit National Accident Repair Group for a faster, better, smarter repair.
So how many of you spotted how many paint systems were in that area? Now, as we say, this session is called Faster, Better, Smarter Repair, and the write-up in your programme says that we're going to debate what can be done to improve repair cycle times in the UK market, with our experts bringing a variety of stakeholder perspectives, all aiming to improve the policyholders' experience. Now, I was talking about this with Rob yesterday, and Rob gave us some figures which we could use today, that he gave out to his network. In February, they ran a series of workshops with their approved repairer networks, looking at what could be done to get a faster key-to-key time. And he set them all a target, and they had to sort of write in and say how they're going to achieve that, and the best ideas coming in are going to be presented at the British Body Shop Awards event I was talking about earlier on June the 26th. There'll be awards there for the best ideas they had. But if we could have a look at the slide, please. So we're identifying 6 stages of the overall cycle time. Now there are massive variations in here, totally accept that. But first off is the delay from the accident to the policyholder notifying FNOL. Might be via the broker. But that can take up to 12 days, is not uncommon. Sometimes it can be months. Now one of the things we're hearing today, that telematics, instead of 12 days, it could be about 12 seconds. So that's a big change we could see, but that's one of the biggest hold-ups at the moment in the whole claims cycle time, different from today's concentration, which is on repair cycle times. FNOL to repair, well, that's a question of minutes or hours. It varies, but it's the old fax machine or email just notifying the repairer. Then the repairer normally has to contact the policyholder within a given time. That could be an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours. And after that contact is made, item 4 is from the contact made to the vehicle on site. And some of that's going to depend on the contract, how busy the repairer is, how far ahead he's booking, and also it should be when the policyholder wants their car repaired. It might not be convenient for them for the next 2 weeks. So that could be between 1 day and 10 days or even more. And perhaps one of the key things in the repair cycle time is the vehicle on site to the policyholder collecting it. And that's 12 to 15 days is not unusual for the industry. The better ones are talking around 8 days at the moment. I'm going to explore that with our panel of experts in a moment. And then finally, after the policyholder's collected the car, there's an invoice to be made and sent into the insurer, and that can take days to weeks. Some repairers take weeks to send in their invoices. So we have a very long overall cycle time, and Rob on his roadshows was talking of not uncommon cycle time of 28 days from the actual accident happening to the insurer receiving the invoice from the repairer. Okay, thank you. So that's just one thing about the 6 stages of the overall cycle time. Panel, we've looked at lots of things over the years at this cycle time, but it seems to really be coming to the fore now. Why? Who wants that cycle time down? Who benefits from it? The insurer, the repairer, the policyholder, the customer? Wayne?
The customer, I mean, essentially we always ask the question, who is the customer? It's the insurer, it's the policyholder, the person driving the car, it could be a fleet manager. But as far as I'm concerned, the benefit, it's a win-win for everybody. If we can just get the cycle time down, you know, from an efficiency perspective, from a customer expectation, from customer satisfaction, just delivering a better service.
Surely they're happy in their courtesy car?
Not necessarily. I have different instances. I've had customers that want a car repairing the same day because he's going to an event the next day and it must be in his car. Then I've had instances where the customer, he's got his car, almost got no value to him. It's just a piece of equipment that gets him from A to B. He couldn't care. It took me a month to get his car repaired. You know, and it's just like you've got to listen to what the customer wants and then obviously deliver that expectation as far as I'm concerned.
Okay. Paul, why is cycle time important to you?
I think one of the many things that Andrew talked about earlier was that customers find claims of their own convenience, and their perception of the claim experience is awful, and they're at the mercy of many processes of the insurer and repairer to go through mechanisms to get to a point when actually all they want is their car back, and we hear that loud and clear from our customers all the time.
Have they not been saying this before? Because it certainly seems to be a big new emphasis on it, to be fair.
No, they have been saying all the time. I think.
Have you, as the insurance industry, not been listening to them, though?
I think it's both. I think we're all guilty of not listening, actually. I think there's a catalyst of change now when the claims frequency is so suppressed and volumes are down in the industry. If you aren't going to try something and test something now, when will you?
Okay, Malcolm, is smart repair the answer?
I think it's a combination of everything, to be honest with you. I mean, I think one of the answers is there's too many stages, isn't there? There's 6 stages there. You know, we're an industry where we've got, you described it there, you've got the customer who's the driver, eventually reporting it to the insurer, who report it to the repairer, who contact the customer. And yet, if you're in a mechanical repair in your car, you book it straight in. And I think we've got to work more towards that and cut to some of the stages out, to be honest with you. Yeah, if you can get more cars done in a day, that helps everyone. You know, it helps the mobility situation quite a bit. I don't think you're going to find people, the demands are going to be so great on a courtesy car if you can cut it down into one day. But whether you choose mobile, smart repair, fast track, all those are relevant. And I think what I've tried to do with the video and what we tried to do there is we perhaps would help with some more information up front, really, to be honest with you. We're talking about images there, but everyone benefits.
Mobile repair, Paul, is something that many insurers have explored, yourselves, preparing car policyholders, home or place of work. Is that working? Is that where we ought to be going?
I think it works when it's right for the customer and when it's right for the type of repair that fits that profile. I don't think it's the complete answer. I think it's one of many solutions that you could offer the customer to any number of variety of demands they might place upon you.
Wayne, one of the things that comes out very simply in all of the work I've seen in the years I've been in the industry, the average repair has been around 18, 16, 15 hours over that period. It really hasn't changed much, and the order stats that we analyse and produce each year for the convention always stayed around that figure. Why does it take on average 8 to 10 days to go through a body shop? So, you know, they're working on it 2 hours a day. What the hell are they doing the rest of the time?
Sometimes it is the process that's outside control of the repairer. You know, sometimes it's an SLA or a requirement to do an estimate first and wait for authorisation. You know, I'm getting areas now with parts suppliers. We all know as an industry that the parts suppliers are keeping less stock of parts on the shelf, and you know, we could be waiting a couple of days longer now for parts. So there's a lot of areas which are outside the body shop control. But the one thing for me, which is probably the most important, is this mentality of what I always class as the traditional repairer. It's influencing everyone within the business to think differently. Yeah, why does it take exactly that long? You know, but
so whose fault is it? Is it your fault as a repairer? Is it the insurer's fault?
It's a combination, though, if you know what I'm saying. It's a combination. And I mean, those stages are quite critical to it, I think. And I think when you talk about the average repair time, you know, the smaller jobs and the smaller repairs are not going through now. They're not going through the conventional system. So although the time stays the same, I think there's been a reduction in the larger jobs because there's no smaller jobs in it. So although it seems to be staying the same, it isn't.
So the cycle time doesn't appear to be coming down?
Well, it's come down quite a long way, I think, over the years. And to get it through and to lower it even further, you know, I think it's a combination of all those things. You know, I'm pretty sort of keen to promote that the repairer looks at the images of the car. And I think that's something that we can do. Most people in the audience, if we were to say, can you send us an image of your car? You know, most of us nowadays, we find that pretty straightforward to do.
So Paul, is that something Aviva are offering?
It's not something we're offering. It's something I'm absolutely willing to explore. I was talking to Malcolm later lunchtime. I think it's an onus on every part of the chain to be able to work together. So you mentioned parts. Absolutely, we need to get parts quicker. The insurer needs to listen to the repairer, perhaps adapt processes. We both need to listen to the customer and actually do what the customer would like us to do. But to do that, we actually need to have some degree of collaboration amongst ourselves.
But absolutely, but the great fear, Paul, is that repairers have had that traditional mistrust, I would suggest, of insurers, is they'll share something like that and all there's a saving, Mr. Insurer wants it all.
Well, I think there's a saving in it for everybody, actually. I think the customer would get a saving in the inconvenience of their time, the repairer would see a saving in their costs, and potentially even some margin improvement, and the insurer would see a reduction in claims costs.
So what could you do with your network to help get down cycle time? How can you work with your network on it?
I think you've almost answered your question there, in that you do need to work together on it. I think the repairer shouldn't listen to the insurer to adapt his processes. The repairer should listen to the customer and then speak to the insurer about what changes they could make to drive a better cycle time. And insurers need to listen.
Are you, as a company,
absolutely
listening? What's your observation on insurers? You have a number of different approvals. They vary from the good to sublime to ridiculous.
Yes. It literally is from a process perspective. You know, you do see the two ends of the scale. Perhaps one of the biggest criticisms I've got over my time is I'm just one repairer in the middle of Birmingham, and what possible process is Mr. Insurance Company done a change or?
Have you approached insurers with ideas what you can do to help them?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, you know.
And you get a receptive response?
You know, essentially, if you look at the information and you analyse anything, the answer comes out as to what you've got to do and how it's got to be done. But if there's not enough people willing to change and to do these things, isn't enough buying from an insurance company or any work provider to look at it and go, well, we are going to change this because it's better for you. If they can't get the buy-in from more repairers, or more repairers aren't changing, yeah, then what is an insurance company going to listen? I mean, the GS is a classic because they just give the open book. So what you do for us, how are you going to change it? And we put I do repairs for a GS. I told the GS what I could do. They looked at it, and between us we talk and we communicate, and I offer a bespoke solution to a GS. Another repairer in Manchester, in Glasgow, anywhere else in the country, it could be offering an entirely different solution to what I'm offering.
So Malcolm, how could you do that with a national network of 100 repairers offering a different solution?
Well, I think what, the video that we watched there is probably for today and for as a brief of what we do. We can use that sort of communication to the network. We're not telling the repairers how to repair the car. The repairers are really good at repairing the car quickly. What we need to do is create.
But then I challenge you. I don't think they are, because a 16-hour job takes 8 days plus.
Yeah, but if you think of all the components that make it longer, and I think one of them we haven't talked about yet is surge. Okay, we're planning not very well because a lot of scheduling needs to be done in a body shop, and I don't think we're as good as where we need to be with scheduling in general. But you're dealing with situations like, it's been very dry. March was very dry. You're booking on average, probably body shops take 6 or 7 jobs in a day. Typical body shop. Okay, you need to take 6 or 7 jobs in a day. But when you arrive on a Monday and it's been raining like it has this weekend and over the last week, you end up with probably 12 jobs there that you weren't expecting to come in. And it's dealing with that surge that helps. There's nothing worse than you arrive, you've got a day's booking, you've got a week's bookings, okay, and then you've got 12 extra vehicles that are, if they're immobile, they're big repairs. And it's frustrating for repairers sitting out and looking at those cars, and you lose time. And I think where we've got to, and why I say I think that the repairers are good at repairing the car, they are with the processes and their equipment, but what we've got to do is be more streamlined in how we handle the surges.
So how could you help that? Because you can't control when your policyholders have accidents.
Absolutely not, no. I think some of the things that Malcolm's talked about is if we can give any kind of indication to the repairer of the type of job or the customer demand in that particular situation, it might allow.
Looking back on a historical basis, do you mean?
No, when the customer actually calls in, if we can help the repairer understand if it's perhaps a mobile car, an immobile car, is it a repair, is it an estimate, is it a big job or a small job?
Images?
Maybe even images. That could help the repairer in Malcolm's scenario there. He's got 12 30 jobs, but actually 3 or 4 of them might be different types of jobs to the other 3 or 4 of them, and they can adjust the business to adjust to the search.
And I think if you look at the fast track, to make the fast track work, yes, if it's one panel to paint during the day, okay, you can do it during the day. But we're not that good sometimes, or as good as we need to be, at getting that car in first thing. You see the car coming in there at 9 o'clock. What we're saying there is we know that's going to be fast track. Sometimes, again, we're guilty of deciding it's going to go down the fast track when it arrives. To be honest with you, that's too late. We need to be planning ahead. And definitely all these stages need to be reduced. So if we can have some images, if we can encourage the customer to book or allow the insurance customer to book on our behalf, as to be fair, you do. I think that's what we've got to work to. There's some IT requirements there, I think, as well.
How do you identify a fast track job when it comes in?
I just want to add to that though. One of the things from a repair perspective, it's exactly that, the peaks and troughs of coming in on a Monday and you've got 12 immobile vehicles because of everything over speed. To me, it's capacity management. In order for a work provider to deploy the work the most effectively, the most efficiently, is I need to get information to them, a real-time capacity management system. That would help plan the jobs more better and ensure that the jobs...
So they're just filling your shop, not overfilling it?
Yes. It's systems like that need to be put into the marketplace as far as I'm concerned.
Now, I will just come back again on this fast track basis, because you run fast track system within your business. How did you come up with the idea? How do you identify fast track and does it work?
You're right. I don't do a fast track system within my body shop. I have a system that means that every car that I repair should be repaired quicker. And it's all about identifying, essentially a triage. Wherever possible, I need to see the vehicle, especially on the mobile vehicles. I need to see it to identify what is the skill set that's required to repair that vehicle, what parts are required to repair that vehicle, and then I can schedule.
So that's back to the same point Malcolm was saying about images.
Yes, and taking it down the appropriate route. Yeah, I've got smart bays, which means essentially I pull a car into that bay. I've already identified it's a job that can be stripped, pinned or panelled if I've got to use a vehicle report system, and primed and painted in that bay. That car does not move out of that bay, until it is complete.
And is it the same worker on it the whole time, the same technician?
You've got to have multi-store technicians to get with the to be as agile and to flex with the work demands now. You need to be able to have a panel technician that can also prep, a prep technician who can also do a panel repair using the vehicle pull system and even paint. You need that flexibility.
Okay, I'm coming back to you in a minute, Paul. We'll take questions from the audience, so hopefully we've got two people with some microphones. Mr. Bull's leaping up like he's got one microphone. I don't know if there's another one anywhere. Yes, there is over there, fantastic. Paul, are you seeing this innovative thinking from repairers?
I think you see a variety of it actually. Some people are really forward thinking and changing their business as Wayne's talked about. I think some have fast track, some have mobile. I think there's a real appetite from the repair community to want to do something different.
Then I hear back from repairers all they're concerned with is the price per hour.
Well, I think at the moment, if I was to look at, you've got a set of circumstances at the moment where there's less accidents and therefore lots of capacity in the market and lots of good quality repairers all doing great jobs. What I'm seeing is an appetite from repairers to want to try and stand out in that crowd, and I think the first person that can do that and the first insurer that can hook into that can provide something different to the customer that perhaps isn't day to day.
So you welcome an approach from repairers with something different and some ideas of how to work with yourselves to get down the cycle times.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll try and take some questions from the audience. If you stick your hand up, Mr. Bull will leap over. He's only small, he can leap a long way.
Hi, David Murphy from Glasses. This is a question from a consumer perspective because I recently managed to drive my car into the curb and destroy the two near side wheels. I'm not a very good driver, obviously, but the key thing I've got here is that Wayne said something in his first sentence about expectation. And for me, it's not about speed, it's about meeting the expectations that you've set. And through my experience in the last couple of weeks, the expectation management was atrocious. And that was on behalf of the insurance company and on behalf of the repairer. How do we manage the expectations better so that we're actually delivering the service that the customer expects rather than just doing it quickly?
So basically saying, if they say it takes 3 days and it takes 4 days, it's a failure, and if it takes 6 days, it takes 4 days, it's a success.
Absolutely. I went away for a week, left with my car, came back, nothing had happened.
How do you manage that at airflow? Start with Paul, if I may, then Malcolm.
I think it's a great question. I haven't got the answer to it. I just think it's a great question. I've had a similar experience, and I think the customer's expectation when they've got particularly a small damage to the vehicle is that's going to be a small repair. I can have my car back that day, next day, whatever the perception or expectation may be. Unfortunately, it's sort of where service hits manufacturing, and that job that's booked in now joins the production queue, irrespective of its size, generally. And you're quite right. I think we both get better.
But also, the customer, policyholder, they don't really know that, or very often, much about their car. What looks a small dent or accident to them can actually be a 20-hour job.
Correct.
How do you manage expectations? Do you handle F1 as well, Malcolm?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to say in a particular case. Could be lots of reasons as to what's happened there. But I think generally that things have got better from that point of view. I think that the repairers are getting self-authority from the insurers' customers now. So I think that does work in our favour.
So how often does your network hit the stated completion date then?
How often?
Yeah.
I can't say how often. There's a whole list of KPIs and graphs that we work to. It's different from each repair.
But that's back to the point that David's saying, isn't it? Because the main complaint that I hear against body shops is not the quality of work, and I totally take that. Very few complaints about that. It's communication, it's not hitting completion date. You can't be ready on Thursday and it's not.
Not hitting the completion date, again, I'll tell you that, the network is in the 80s on that. So yeah, probably you say that needs to improve. But even repairing it sometimes earlier than we've set the expectation is sometimes a problem. So again, different people do that in different ways, how we set the expectation. And we're setting an expectation when we're not in control of everything that's going on. We set an expectation when we don't know whether the parts are going to be available. We make assumptions.
Yeah, coming back to this part, I talk to vehicle manufacturers, and we've got a number of vehicle manufacturer representatives in here, and they'll say they've got 98% parts availability. It's not always the 2% that they haven't got that are always affecting repair.
But again, the reasons for not is hitting the estimated completion date. There's a list of them, isn't there? We monitor them. When we don't hit the date, or when we alter the date, we put in why we don't alter it, so you can analyse that data. Because we're analysing the data, yes, we can improve on it.
I think what's important there is that the repairer and the insurer is constantly updating each other.
Yes.
Because inevitably what happens is, if the customer hasn't got their car back, which is actually what they want, then they're going to call the insurer. And if the insurer can't answer the question, then it's a convoluted process to try and find the answer from the repairer to answer the customer. And actually what the customer wants is the
And that all costs money.
Correct.
Wayne, how good are you at communicating with your insurers, with your customers and policyholders, and secondly, how good are you at hitting completion dates?
I think looking at the car initially, too many repairers put a lot of focus on triaging the repair. Yeah? Some of the focus has got to be actually put on, believe it or not, triaging the customer. Listen to the customer. Just as important as trying to identify what damage is on their car, listen to their requirements, what's their life. Do they work evenings? Have they got to get the kids to school? Have they got to So if you can get that information, that all helps them to identify the customer's expectations and then manage that. I spent, the last couple of months, I spent a lot of time in the office training the staff how to manage the customer's expectations. The more information you can get right within the first few minutes to speak, it's not all about the car initially, it's listening to the customer.
Thank you. We had another question here, I think.
Hi, it's Mike Gibbons from Repair Choice. We processed around about 2,500 fast repairs last year through our business. And one of the main ingredients of the success of that was the fact that we use a different financial model than the norm. And I wanted to ask Paul in particular, are Aviva open to looking at different financial models to process smaller repairs quicker?
You said earlier on you were open to any ideas.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that the process that the repair industry uses has almost forced us to get to a pricing model that's almost commonplace now. But absolutely, I think we already work to a different pricing model with our mobile partner as well as the fixed body shops, and I'll be absolutely interested in talking about that.
Okay, we've got one last question. We've got just about time for. I'm already 21 minutes late. I'm reminded by Chris. Any last question? Yes, indeed. One in front here, Mark. And then I'll ask you also a quick sum up what we can do better in the future.
Yeah, thanks, Rob Harbour Equity. I think, did the panel agree, the experience we've just heard about there, isn't that synonymous with the fact that the whole industry is too reactive? And actually, what you could have done through that experience, you did mention you went away, so perhaps that wasn't practical in that case, but had the repairer themselves kept the policyholder up to date, that we wouldn't have this problem, we wouldn't have the increased failure demand that you talked about, and actually going into the claims departments. If, as I said, we're just more proactive in actually managing the customer through that entire process.
I answer that, if you don't mind. One thing that I've found for definite is when I speak to customers, at the first notification or if I can see the vehicle, I need to be telling the customer when I'm picking the car up, when they're having it back, and deliver on that. Yeah. What I've found is customers don't want updates in between. They don't want all this communication. All they want, what I find, is when I pick the car up, can I tell them when I'm having the car back, and can I deliver on that? And that's what I find.
Malcolm?
I would agree with that. That's really where we've got to be. And anything we can do on that chain that's really complicated, there's too many touch points, and that customer journey is getting information from various people. The better we are at cutting that down, the better we'll be at delivering on time.
Okay, two last points, one from Paul and one from Wayne. Paul, what would you like to have happen after today? How do things be better if we learn anything from today?
I just think, you heard from Andrew earlier that there's a real lack of differentiation in the claims process, and part of the reason I'm guessing Chris created this in the first place is the fact that there's a lot of distrust in the industry as well between us all. So for me, it's about having open conversations, even if they don't progress anywhere, just so that we're always looking to try and innovate and do something different to the customer.
And Wayne, your magic wand would do what after today?
I've got to agree with Paul. Essentially, you know, we've got to communicate better, and we've got to look at innovation and what can change and how it can change, and work to bring that into place. You know, we just got to communicate better over the whole process. It's not just about me repairing the car, it's looking at the whole process, which is better for the customer.
And that can bring down cycle times. Okay, great big hand please, thank you for our panel.